Well, entrepreneurs, we are back with the Friday Live Helpcast with me, your hostess, the mostess, Diana Gladney. I'm pumped and excited to be here. First and foremost, if you're new here, welcome to the channel. If you've been here for a while, welcome back. And if you are watching the replay, thanks for being here. We appreciate you. All right, Merry Christmas to you. I almost played Christmas Carol songs because that's where I'm at. That's where my heart is right now. It's Christmas Carol songs. Let me also make two very important announcements. Number one, if you see anything because of this protein shake that I drank before, please let me know. Okay, don't have me out here in these digital streets looking a mess. Tell me, all right? That's why I put chapstick on in the middle of the live streams, okay? And I don't care, be a training, be paid trainings, okay? We got to be correct out here in these digital streets. So if you notice a little protein drip, let a sister know, all right? Don't have me out here looking sideways. We're supposed to be family. We can do better than that, all right? Number two, today is an amazing day for a couple of reasons. We bring it back to Friday Live Helpcast. Those of you that have been longtime subscribers of the channel know that this started because of 2020 and all that came with it. But there were so many questions and so many concerns that people had, and it was impossible for me to keep up with my inbox, the DMs, and the like. 2021 was even busier. In 2022, thankfully now is coming to an end. In 2023, I believe will be a fantastic year. So we're bringing back the Friday Live Helpcast at 11:45 a.m. Central Standard Time every Friday. Every Friday, allegedly, except for probably like around the holidays, maybe. But for Thanksgiving, Christmas, those days, we should be pretty good, and the like. But we should be pretty good, right? We should be good. And then the last announcement, that is by far the next best thing since bread has been sliced. If you've been, again, a follower of the Video Simplified community here, you know that I've been working on my book, my book. I've been working on it for quite some time. What is this book about? Obviously, it's not relationship advice. It's not or anything like that. It is obviously what the channel is about, helping entrepreneurs simplify the video creation process. And so if you ever see me produce a marriage book, run. But if you see me produce a book about video, buy it. All right. But it just literally this morning. So in our Video Simplified membership community, we have our daily podcast called the Entree Chats Daily Morning Show. And I was sharing like 2 days ago, I'm like, we're right there. It should be finished by today. And then today, this morning, was able to produce this morning's episode by saying but the book is done. What's the title of the book? I'll release it as soon as I get the cover. I want to release it with the cover ready because let's just be honest. All right, let's be very honest. You all know how some books get published and it looks like it's homemade. I love Canva. Don't get me wrong. I love all of these free tools. They're amazing. However, I don't want it to look like it was made, like it was homemade. So I'm not making the cover. We're definitely hiring out for a professional, like a true professional, for that, so that it matches the brand aesthetic, because we're not going to be sitting sideways out here in these digital streets. All right. May the Lord bless you and keep you always. So more to come on that. It's now, in a position where it, needs to go to the editor, and then whatever that process looks like, getting it edited. And then somewhere in between that process should have a cover design reveal on one of these Friday Live Helpcasts that we'll be able to discuss and talk about, which I'm very, 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 very excited. So hopefully you are too. And if you are new here again, if you're live and in the chat, leave your questions. We're diving right in. I'm pumped. I am pumped. I pulled an all-nighter to get that gosh darn thing done, but here we are nonetheless, and I'm excited. We got JoJo the Techie in the building. Have not seen that small for a long time. Let's get this going. And because my OCD is going to make me want to line that up, that looks way better. JoJo the Techie in the building saying, happy to see the Friday Live Helpcast is back. So am I. I missed the bonding. You know, that's really what the Fridays was, this good bonding time. So I'm very excited about that. And the thing, if I'm being very humble, open, and transparent, what I should have done so that I never should have ended the live streams for the Friday Lives is I should have built a team sooner, and that would have permitted me to, scheduling wise, make it make sense. Instead, I was trying to wear too many hats, and it just was impossible to manage everything. So in hindsight, if I was to do it all over again, I would have hired a team sooner, and that would have solved that issue. So I too am excited that the Friday Live Helpcasts are back. Coming in with the first question from JoJo the Techie. Can you recommend a Sony APS-C camera body that won't break the bank and will allow me to record 4K 60 or 120 frames per second? Currently using the ZV-E10 to record all my content. Well, JoJo, I have some not so great news for you. I don't know what breaking the bank means, but the ZV-10 is at that $700 price tag, which is why for all of the things that's in there, it's fantastic. However, we're in limbo with the release of the new, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold too. Thank courtesy of my nieces and nephews. We're in limbo since this new Sony FX30 came out, and this is the price tag that we're looking at, with it just being released at $1798 here in the US. And this camera does 4K 120, and it is an APS-C sensor size camera. However, it is the only camera that uses that BSI that you'll see down here, backside illuminated CMOS sensor, 26.1 megapixel sensor. This is the only one that does this. It's a new sensor, but this sensor is literally in no other Sony cameras to date. So we're in limbo. The cameras that are due, however, for updating is going to be the Sony a6600 that in the previous video I was sharing like how and why I personally decided to get rid of my a6600, knowing that I would probably move on to something else. I didn't ever think that Sony was going to make a camera like that, just because at the price and everything, it just didn't make sense. So right now for APS-C, the only cameras that you have with Sony, you have a 4K 60 crop that puts you in an APS-C mode with the Sony a7 IV that costs more than this camera. And this camera is already in itself APS-C, and it does 4K 120, and that's $1798. The only thing that I can suggest is be a little bit more patient. I mean, there are ways to kind of finesse a 4K 60 occasionally. Like if you have a really sharp lens, really good lighting, upscale that 1080p 60, maybe upscale that 4K 30 to 4K 60, maybe, and see how it looks with great lighting, sharp lens, clean the lens, dust off the sensor, all of that. But it's not going to necessarily, it's not going to be the same. But I would say if you're adamant on that, be a little bit more patient. And to be honest with you, where we're at now with cameras in general, like when I made the video that I never published because the rumors for the Sony FX30 wound up coming out, and I'm like, this camera's real. It's like I start seeing all the benchmarks I look for that shows me that this camera is going to be real. But I had made a video. I'm like, I dared Sony. I'm like, I bet y'all would never make a camera, basically at the FX30. You never make a camera with 4K 120 APS-C, hashtag all the things, IBIS, and whatever. You never make a camera like that. And they proved me wrong, thankfully. So I'm hoping to be proven wrong again with having a upgrade to the Sony a6600, since that's supposed to be the top tier. And technically they do have to update that camera because it is not only like supposedly the top of the APS-C, this, new FX30 is the go-to Bee's Knees Hall of Fame camera right now. But this is considered a cinema camera, quote unquote. Take that to mean what you want it to mean. for a cinema camera, but it's a video centric camera. They still have to make a hybrid style body. Are we going to get a ZV-E10 Mark II with 4K 60 in it? I highly, highly doubt it, but I'm hopeful, but I highly doubt it. But what I would say is, if you're adamant on, it being Sony, you're going to have to be a bit more patient because we're in limbo. The good thing is, though, the sensor exists for it in this camera, which hopefully means maybe by next year, we're looking at a hybrid camera that's by Sony, that's an APS-C camera that comes out that does what you're asking it to do, which is 4K 60. It may not do 120, but who knows? Like I said, I'm open to being proven wrong and hopeful for it, but right now we're kind of in limbo with that. So it's the FX30 or bust. Anything else is going to push you way over the $2,000 range, even the A7 IV. So even I think when the A60 600 successor comes out, it's probably still going to be in a $1,300 range or something like that. So breaking the bank is going to be hard to avoid, even with a used camera body or something like that. So you may be looking into selling gear or just, saving up, being a little bit more patient on that one. So that's my advice for that one, my dear. Andrew Moons and hey, Miss D, good to see you, sir. Glad that you are here. Sam 7 dash, or was it underscore 757? Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Saying wow, Merry Christmas and everything. I know. I'm telling you, I was all into the Christmas spirit yesterday, listening to like the Christmas, like I'm getting my Christmas chill hop list together because for the live streams and stuff, I always like to have a little something going on in the background. What's up, Mr. Camera Junkie? Good to see you. Glad that you are here. You have been on my mind, my good sir. And how dare you keep my nephew, Prince Aiden, away from me? How dare you? I hope he's doing well. Hope you guys are good. Marine X saying I played a whole Epidemic Sounds, a hip hop Christmas playlist on my stream. See, that's what I'm talking. That's exactly where I was. I'm like, but I switched from Epidemic Sound maybe pushing going on 2 years now. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I just really, really started enjoying Upbeat. But I went over to Epidemic. I'm like, let me see what y'all have for thine Christmas season, because that chill hop Christmas list is my jam. I remember Doc Rock and I were on a live stream. I think it was like sometime last year, maybe it could have been even 2 years ago. And he was just sitting there vibing. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, we're in the middle of the live stream. He's just bouncing, just having a grand ole opry. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh man. He's like, this playlist you got going is dope. I'm like, yeah, got to set the tone out here in these streets. Again, excuse me, you have to forgive me. I'm getting over a little bit of a cold. What is up, Mr. Vaughn Sanders Ministry? Good to see you. Glad that you are here, my brother. So I have a question. I have a $3,000 budget. What Sony camera would be good for me? Note, flip up screen, not flip out. I'd also like if you could mention some lenses. Well, I would say beyond the budget, what is the main purpose and intent for the camera? Like, what's your use case? Because if it's flip up, that would suggest to me like potentially like maybe photography or something like that instead of a flip out screen, depending on like that's usually a differentiator in the screen orientation and preference. So if you're picking a camera, what are you trying to do? Is it street photography? Is it landscape photography? Are you, I don't know, taking pictures of trains coming down the track or something kind of a deal? You know, it's like, so depending on the use case is going to depend on what's your features list. What I always recommend is setting your list of non-negotiables, meaning beyond just like the flip screen and stuff. And then obviously, you know, budget does play a factor. What are the things that I want my camera to absolutely have? So when it comes to video, instead of a flip up screen, it's like it at least needs to flip towards you. In some respect, you need to be able to see yourself. I prefer, like the ZV-E10, it's over on the other desk, but I prefer the ZV-E10 where it's the fully articulating screen because you get more versatility out of it as a solo content creator, primarily in front of the camera, and then when those occasions when you're behind the camera or even off to the side of it. If you're doing an interview, you can still see the screen because you can flip it out like this. Whereas the tilty ones, we can't. So let me know what the use case is, and then we can better make a recommendation. Tony, good to see you. Glad that you are here. Steve Worthy in the building saying congrats on the book. Thank you so much, Steve. I really, really appreciate it. Stoked about the Friday live helpcast, as am I. As am I. Very, very excited. Saying congrats about the book. Excited for you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I really do. It's been a labor of love, but at the same time, it's for anybody that potentially is looking to become an author or something like that. It's the number one thing I would definitely say is you have to see yourself as an author before you like for real get into it, so your mind is set correctly. And so I have been telling myself that for a long time, like, I'm an author. And then one, investing in education that helps you with that is also great. And AKA, if you're into the self-publishing book industry space or whatever, y'all got a lot of work to do. The videos suck. The content suck. It needs to be updated. Hell, I'm about ready to create another channel just to make specifics around that for updated stuff. So that's what, hashtag asterisk note to side. There's always a lot of white space in areas where most people don't think. There's always white space, meaning there's space for growth and the like. There's a space for your message. But this book, though, I guess just to give a little insight on it is, I was going to say the title, but I'm not going to. But I'm going to wait till I get the cover, okay? This ain't going to be no bootleg cover. Okay, look like y'all didn't seen them. Okay, y'all didn't seen some bootleg covers before. I don't even have no specific brand in mind, or company or book in mind, but you've seen them, right? Even on Amazon. We're not trying to be out here like that in these digital streets, okay? We're going to be looking professional, okay? The brand. But this book is catered towards entrepreneurs. Again, obviously helping you simplify the video creation process, but it takes a lot of the things that I teach, a lot of the concepts, not just like from sitting in front of a camera kind of a thing, but the actual concepts of how you can marry your business with your content so that you can share and serve your message to the world. And it's a short book. We're not trying to be reading for 87 days or something. It's a short book, so you can get through it on a plane ride or something like that. That's the intent. For the busy entrepreneur, we ain't got time for all of that. So it's a short book. So I'm pumped and excited. And of course, I'm going to be doing some giveaways. So really excited about that. New here, I really like your videos. What would you say, let me read correctly, what would you say should be the top 5 accessories for the Sony V10? Muhammad, good to see you. Glad that you are here, my brother. So for a video creator, your accessories for the Sony ZV-E10, I would absolutely say would be the small rig bottom cheese plate thing, similar to what I recommended on the ZV-1. The reason for that is like the full cage is nice, but it adds extra weight. Most creators are never going to use that unless you want the grip or you like it or whatever, fine. But what having that bottom cheese plate does is give you an additional cold shoe, and it also gives you some other options and stability on the bottom of the camera. With adding just a smidge amount of weight that just makes it feel just a smidge more solid. So I like the bottom cheese plate, or if you want, you can get the small rig cage for the Sony ZV-E10, and that'll give you a lot of versatility. Namely, those that are live streaming. Some people really hate the micro HDMI port on the Sony ZV-E10, or many cameras like it. And so small rig also makes an HDMI female to HDMI micro male. So basically you can use full-size ports on there that attaches to the cage, and then you can use it. I've shown that in the small rig accessories video, part of that, so that's another recommendation. The other one, let's see. I mean, of course, stuff like the Cam Link, great cables is always my top tier thing when it comes to accessories, because if your cables and the stuff that you're using for connectivity doesn't work, all the extra other stuff that usually is more expensive doesn't work. So like getting great cables, great quality cables is important, and having like redundancy in that. Anything else beyond that goes into like the particular style of content creation. Like if you're doing video podcasting, that's a specific subset of list. If you're vlogging, I like to use my Movo VXR10. So that will be another one of my go-to accessories. And then Freewell sent me some magnetic filters that I still have not reviewed on the channel yet. That absolutely becomes one of my top favorites of the ZV-10 setup. Just because it's magnetic, you pop it on, you don't have to do any of that screwing on stuff and all of that. So those would be some of my favorites. along with a couple things from Ulanzi, including the Ulanzi Quick Claw. In Philly Films, good to see you. Glad you're here. Saying thanks for coming back. I've learned a lot from you, but thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing that with me. I really do. Glad to be of service. I really, really am. Sylvia Nixon in the building of Press and Sew, saying I love y'all. That's all. I'm working. I appreciate you, Sylvia. I was thinking about you literally a few minutes ago because we got to talk. We got to talk. And if you all haven't checked out episode, I think it was like 98 of the Video Simplified podcast, we interviewed Sylvia and Andrew Nixon of Press and Sew. That is making the shirts and the brands and the merch and everything that you see for myself, my friends and colleagues like Doc Rock, and Ecamm Lives. So you need some merch stuff, go to pressandsew.com. This ad was brought to you by, no, I'm just kidding. Marine X saying, yeah, the FX30 isn't for photos. Like, yeah, and it's missing some of the, yeah. So that's the only thing. If for the hybrid creators, they're kind of screwed, you know, with the FX30 release because it's nothing in there for them. Can you take a picture? Yeah, but single shot. Even I like to set it to multiple shots when I'm taking the photo because you can capture a bunch of micro moments in a photo. Like when my niece was finally smiling, she was born with an attitude for whatever reason. And so it wasn't until she got around like her grandmother or something. And now the smiles come about. And so when I would take pictures of her smiling, it would be the micro moments of her smiling. Then I was able to send that to her mom and dad, and they have, you know, plenty of photos to choose from. And so stuff like that, it's like, yeah, you may not be a photographer, but even going to family events and stuff like that, again, capturing those micro moments are meaningful. So I look forward to a hybrid style APS-C camera body that has some of the fixings and trimmings of the FX30 because we need one. We need a lot more than just the FX30. I love the FX30. It's my favorite perfect camera. But we need more than that because not everybody's trying to get the Bee's Knees Hall of Fame for cinema, you know, quote unquote, but we need like a hybrid. So A6600 is long overdue for an upgrade. And I just hope they don't cut it short, cut it off at the knees in some way or something. So it's definitely needed. Excuse me. Blind Guy, his wife, their life. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Saying, woohoo, we're back to the Friday goodness. Diane, I'm here to help you with your code in exchange for my questions. Okay, saying, should I finally buy a camera for streaming or keep using my laptop? It always will boil down to efficiencies. For me, now, efficiencies and then like quality concerns. So obviously, like, okay, you look at cameras like the that are built into like the recent MacBooks and stuff, and with, you know, good to proper lighting, it's hard to tell for an untrained, inexperienced audience to know the difference. I always, honestly, if you're getting more seriously into content creation, I do heavily recommend investing in a dedicated camera for the efficiency aspect of it. It's not just because I love cameras or it's like this one's better than that one. The heck with all that extra other conversation, because what it boils down to is, are you wasting your own time sometimes when it comes to those efficiencies? With, it could be just like, for example, the fact that the Sony a6400 and this 35mm f1.8 lens that I've been using since 2019 can literally stay the exact same position. It always looks right. The settings never change unless I set them to change, and it's always ready to go. And now I even have my camera and stuff voice activated, so I can say, Miss Lady, since I don't want to trigger nobody's houses, devices, and what. So turn on the camera. You're like, okay, turn it on the camera. And then it's ready to go. That's exactly what I did before for this one. If I was using a webcam, it's like, got to make sure maybe the screen is tilted back to the way it should be. So I see the dirty socks in the corner or something, you know. You have to make sure that it's clean, there's no dust on it or whatever. You're not going to get as clarity in the depth and stuff like that. But I think at this point, I mean, if it suits you, fine. But if you also want a dedicated camera that can help, one, improve the quality of the overall content, because it gives you more flexibilities, reposting to social, sharing it to just other social media platforms, dealing with the compressions of those sites, that becomes extremely helpful. That's why contrary to popular belief, we record nearly everything in 4K unless we're like we recently over this last month or so, it's been more than a month, testing the multi-streaming capabilities of in Ecamm Live. It's a beta feature, so it's not publicly accessible in that way yet, but it's like sometimes like, LinkedIn or Twitter, they make you go at 1080p. The camera's still set at 4K. The quality looks great, and so it can handle when you post it on those platforms and it gets squeezed more and more and more. Or when we share something from this platform to that platform, all these platforms keep squeezing it. It's better to start with a higher ceiling than to just barely be, making it by. But that's my thing. It's always coming down to an efficiency. And I'm always for not wasting my own time. And what tool or even software can I use that will help to improve that efficiency? I always recommend saying get a dedicated camera because you don't have to think about it. You set it and forget it. That infomercial sticks with me. Set it and forget it. Like I never have to worry about this camera not looking right. It always will look right, regardless. So that's my thoughts. Jojo Take saying, got it. Thank you. You're very welcome, my dear. Glad to be of service. Mr. Camera Junkie saying the FX30 is going to be great. The lack of a viewfinder sucks for my liking. I know you're kind of into the photography aspects of said things. However, I don't care nothing about that EVF. The poor EVFs in my home never get used, okay? Never see the light of day. And if we're being fair, they always sucked anyway. Like the quality was never amazing. You'd have to get the higher end A7 full frame cameras to even get close to something decent, or not even decent, but really, really good quality. And it's like, I'd rather just do this. If I need to see it outside, I'm like, okay, I got it, just cover it. Or get one of those little shields that can go over the screen and act as a big old EVF. But the EVFs never, unless you're a hybrid user, then at that point, yes, it's valuable. Other than that, they could have said it takes no pictures. I still would have got the FX30. But like I said, the fact that this camera exists and we have this brand new 26 megapixel APS-C backside illuminated CMOS sensor, as if that wasn't a mouthful, that can do up to 4K 20, it gives us a ton of options of what the future of the APS-C lineup of cameras will look like. I sincerely hope that the ZV-E10 is the last of the cameras that use the old menu systems, the last of the cameras that use the old sensors. It's the last of the cameras that use any of the old stuff. Let it die. It's not that it was like so terrible, but it's time for it to go. Okay. Everybody bow your head for prayer. It's time to let it go. That's what I think, they're great. Don't get me wrong. I love my cameras. Y'all know I do. However, I still think it's like, okay, great. We finally got an update. Let those other ones pass away now. So if a ZV-10 Mark II come, bring it go for the gold and give us the bee's knees Hall of Fame. Good sensor that's in the FX30. Let's not play any games and let us get the goodness here. Unless they got something else, stored up. But we'll see. I think we'll see the sensor some more, though. I hope, like I said, the next camera is going to be an upgrade to the A6600, and it will have those hybrid features that everybody is loving, desiring, hoping for. And honestly, I think the market needs it. Not to mention, I didn't have a whole lot of time to look at this, but this right here came out. This camera, it's been a lot of cameras coming out. I haven't even had time to deal with it. I've been sick literally for the past 2 weeks. The week before that, had a funeral. I don't know what's happening or what have you. But in the meantime, shout out to my anime crew out there. I watched One Piece. I'm almost up there in the 1,000 episode, almost. So I finally caught up in the meantime. So I put them good 3 weeks to use. But the Fuji X-T5 was just announced yesterday, I think. So I think Fuji playing games. All right, Fuji's out here playing games, and it's not funny. It's funny, but it's not funny. $1,700. Now, get this. A 40 megapixel sensor, APS-C. I don't know nothing about the X-Trans and all the whatever because I don't follow their stuff to that depth, but I usually always see that. CMOS, whatever, another backside illuminated sensor. Also can do 4K 20, but get this. 6.2K, 30 frames per second. And 1080p, 240 frames per second. And of course, 10-bit. Now, Fuji has been doing the daggone thing when it comes to video specs for a long time. I've been saying this since 2019 because they were definitely a high contender when I was looking to switch from Canon into whatever brand of cameras I might, stick with for the time. And I was greatly interested in the Fuji X-T3 and the X-T4 at that time because they were great. However, the autofocus would drift. I didn't want to be bothered with the potential of, is it going to work or isn't it? Now let's play this game. Let's go to B&H Photos website. Now, not the A7 IV. Let's look. What is the Fuji X-T4? See what the pricing is currently for that camera. Because that camera in itself, I believe that one could do 4K 60, I believe. And it's been doing it, 4K 60, 1080p, 200. Yeah, so this camera, it's not that old. Fuji X-T4, similar, 26.1 megapixel sensor, APS-C, backside illuminated, can do 4K 60, in-body image stabilization, 1080p, 240 frames per second. Now, the one thing that I've always given credit where credit is due with Fuji is they regularly update their cameras. They regularly update the sensors and all of that. My only thing is I just didn't want to be a guinea pig trying to test out what works, what doesn't, is the autofocus in today? Because I'm not about that re-record video life. I think that sucks. So, I'm not here for that. And so that's why I didn't choose Fuji because of the autofocus. And I don't like these dials. Everybody loves these like retro dials. I care nothing about them dials. I'm not here for that. I'm not, it looks cute. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice looking camera. It's very attractive camera. But this right here is not my cup of tea. It is not the Bee's Knees Hall of Fame. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Then they came out with this Fuji X-H2. They revived the XH line. And this camera is really great. The camera market is exploding this month. $2,000. Specs, a 40 megapixel sensor, still APS-C, backside illuminated sensor, still in-body image stabilization. But this one does 8K, 30 frames per second, 4K 60, 1080p, 240 frames per second. Still 10-bit and all the other goodness that comes with it. And fixed the issue that I didn't like, which I really enjoyed about the H model cameras, is that, where's the top of the camera? See that? None of the crazy dials. Little digital screen over here, couple buttons similar to Panasonic, and then you have your mode dial. And then that's it. Otherwise, in my opinion, it's a nice modernized camera. Pricing on this, $2,000. A very attractive $2,000 at 8K 30, 4K 60, 1080p, 240, frames per second. It's a lot of competition right now. That's why I said Sony needs to bring the heat really, really quickly, because the $13, $15, $2,000 price range for cameras it's hot competition. And this is just the brand new cameras, even cheaper if you find these used. And even the older cameras that Fuji has, they update those regularly. So the autofocus will still continue to improve on those cameras, which means they will be really good cameras. I'm looking at testing some. Like I said before, we're opening up the channel to other cameras, other brands, other models, just to give more options for creators, content creators. Because while Sony is my personal preference and my favorite, it does not mean that it's going to be for everybody, so tis what a TI is. Super chat in the building. Thank you so much for the super chat, $20, saying thanks so much for the laptop versus camera deep dive. I like the efficiency of just a laptop for travel. But I was torn. Always love your insight. Well, I really, really appreciate that. The one thing I would say though, something like the ZV-1 I traveled with to San Diego. Was it last year? I think it was last year. Because I went to San Diego this year, but I also went last year. And I only took the ZV-1, and I only had my phone and then my laptop. And I did a live stream on Facebook, and it was great. It looked amazing. Did other videos out there, and it looked great. So you don't have to get, a whole exhaustive setup that can be frustrating to you. Because I get for some people, creating with dedicated cameras or mirrorless cameras and having to learn all this stuff, hashtag all the things, can become more daunting. But what I would suggest is get what is right for you. That's why the ZV-1 is still a hot seller in my opinion, and is still a great camera. The only thing I don't recommend from Sony right now is that ZV-1F, forget about it camera. Contrast detection autofocus is always going to be a no-no in my book, and that is a big no-no in my book. I don't know who didn't read the paper for the distribution for that day, but I disagree greatly with that camera. For real. Thank you so much. Super chat from Sebastian. Appreciate that, my brother, saying number one, Viltrox 13mm f1.4 or Sigma 16 f1.4 for the ZV-10. Number two, you open to being a guest on one or more of my live stream in the future? If yes, what's the best way? So yeah, I'd never turn down like for interviews or something like that. I'm not so bougie that I don't help or join and teach and other stuff like that. So the best way is support at dianagladney.com. And if you tell me the name of your show, then I can tell my assistant Anne, who you'll be speaking with, to that, like I've already okayed it or whatever, and she'll go ahead and handle like the logistics for scheduling and stuff like that. But it can be done. So sure, I'd be honored to be on your show. So thanks so much, Sebastian. So between the Viltrox 13 f1.4 and Sigma 16 f1.4 is really tough in some respects. The Sigma 16 has been such a hard lens to beat. However, now it comes down to what are the small differences between them. And for me, that would be the weight, because I already know how heavy the Sigma 16 and the Viltrox looks to be about the same. So let me pull up the weights real quick for these, because from sharpness, quality, autofocus, very little difference, if any. So you're looking at price, you're looking at weight. Because I personally know that the Sigma 16 is almost bulletproof. You can partially use it as a weapon if you're going for late night walks on the beach. Okay, you're good. You're safe. Okay, use it for a self-defense weapon, put it on the camera and keep vlogging, and you're fine, right? You're safe. But the Viltrox, I don't know. I've had other third-party lenses and stuff before, but it's like that extra little bit of difference in this. I don't see it being so, like the 13, that's what, taking one step back as far as distance with the camera, unless you just want the focus ring here, which on the Sony 15mm G lens f1.4 that I tried is a really nice feature. It's really nice if you plan to use it. For me personally, being a video-centric user who does almost no videos, so I don't, no video, I almost do no photos, to the point that I would really be benefiting from any photo-centric stuff. This is, for me, would kind of be one of those top of the list if I was, though. Because having a good aperture clicking ring and you have those solid conformations is very helpful. For the price for it to go from like 13 millimeters from 16, I'm just about always going to pick the Sigma 16. It's very hard to beat. It's very hard to beat because, again, it's for sure excellent sharp quality. It's for sure going to manage the autofocus and do it well. Like I said, hey, it's a little heavy, but then it also doubles as a self-defense weapon should you ever need it. But it's almost bulletproof. Seriously, Viltrox, like I said, I don't discredit their value, but it's more so at that point, would you actually ever use the aperture ring? Would you benefit even slightly from those 13 millimeters to a point to where it would make a difference? Even I've recorded in a small office. The cameras and the lenses and stuff is deceptive when you all look at the videos, and it probably makes you think the videos, the room, this office space, is larger than it is. It's not. It's just the way the depth perception is perceived on camera. So the Sigma 16, even in a very small home office studio space, is still too wide. I often will be using clear image zoom to crop out some of the sides and stuff. And even then, you guys, we punch in and zoom in and stuff. So unless you're going to get value out of that aperture ring, I still see value in the Sigma 16, especially if the main thing is for video when you're looking at comparing that kind of stuff. That's my thoughts. Like I said, but it's always going to be based on your use case. Like I said, if I was even doing remotely a little bit with photos, and that aperture ring would come in handy, or like I used to take photos and stuff at church. And so sometimes you get back into really crazy corners trying to get certain angles. That little extra bit of a 13 millimeters actually would be helpful. But I don't do that anymore. So it doesn't, matter at that point. But it's always going to be based on the use case. Because even that extra little bit of price, you can get that back in, paid gigs and stuff like that with the work that you may be doing with your content. So that's what I would suggest. All right. The Black Pew Boy, if that ain't a good podcast name, I don't know what is. The Black Pew Podcast. I love that. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. How should I record a video, 2 Canon M50 simultaneously with one computer? Usually record for 1 hour and a half. If you have a Mac computer, Ecamm Live. If you, since you would be doing that via USB to counteract, and again, this is considering if you have the Mark 1 instead of the Mark II. If you do have the Mark 1, Ecamm Live, because you don't have clean HDMI. You don't want to try to do any crazy hacks with a cam link. It's just not worth it to lose footage or have it cut out or any of that stuff. So it would be Ecamm Live. And to get through the distance of a USB cable and stuff, really good, fast, reliable USB cables to connect to your camera to your computer. If you have 2 Canon M50s Mark 1s and you do not have Ecamm Live because you do not have a Mac, get a Mac. I'm not kidding. I've had plenty of friends, plenty of clients, plenty of people just asking in the community about certain things. And I'm like, I'm not joking. Like, I'm not not paid by, like, a paid spokeswoman or something for Ecamm. But daggone it, I put my money where my mouth is, and I know what works. And sometimes it's just not worth it for, the efficiencies that you can get by having a system that just works. And so even something like the Mac Mini, you could run with a small portable monitor or something like that, and run it. Even hell, if you got a used M1 Mac Mini, run Ecamm and do that, you're still good. And again, if you're monetizing your content, you're monetizing the brand that you're building, or even just seeing the value and the efficiencies until the money gets there, that to me becomes more worth it than sometimes the monetary gain, which sometimes can be a little easy. You know what I'm saying? So that would be my advice. If you are using the Canon M50 Mark IIs in this instance, you just use a cam link, at that point in your basic traditional live streaming setups. Mr. Camera Junction team, flip up. We're the side flippy. Okay, we converted. The side flippy, the ZV-10 came out, ZV-1. Now we got the FX30. We don't need the flippy up here no more. We don't need that no more, okay? We're converting out here in these streets. Welcome from Gordon Reed. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Saying, have you gotten your FX30 yet? No, but I will be coming to a theater near you. Oh, trust me. Y'all gonna get sick of FX30 content. Will we still cover other cameras and stuff? Absolutely. But I'm just saying, when it arrives, just know it's still going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. But I look forward to it. It's a lot to learn. And that's what I'm most excited about. It's a whole lot of additional features for some like next level content creation stuff, and just even goals that I personally have outside of the channel of what this camera makes possible, which is why I'm really, really excited about it. Saying, hey, what time do these start? It'll be 11:45 a.m. Central Standard Time every Friday. So that's when the Friday Live Helpcasts are scheduled. And so I think through the end of the month, all of those are already scheduled on the board. So it's just a matter of how YouTube promotes them. I'll share it always to the community tab, the email list and stuff like that, so you all know where. But it's 11:45 a.m. on the channel, Central Standard Time. It was at 12:45 a.m. Not Pacific, but Eastern Standard Time. So, excuse me. Saying it's probably been a while from my last question, but I'm not doing for photography. I'm doing video, and I'd like something good with 1080p, 64K, 30. Sam _ 757 369 28394. I can, with the magic of Ecamm, search the comments and pull up this other question that you had previously. If your budget is 3K, you don't have a flippy screen, or you don't have a flippy screen, you don't, you're not doing photography, but you do want it to be a flip up screen, what would my recommendation be? And then you're saying, like, if you only needed 1080p, any camera, you don't have to spend the $3,000 budget only on the camera and lenses only, because you also need to consider what else do you or don't you have that needs to support that. 1080p 60, any camera can do that. And I'm serious. Any camera these days can do, literally any camera can do that these days. If your camera's sitting on a tripod, you're doing studio shots, live streaming, whatever, then ZVE10 still becomes my top recommended camera because of the autofocus, the features, the live streaming. You can get an AC power adapter, run it for eons, and you're good to go. Can you do 1080p 60? Yeah. If that's what you want to do, you're good to go. You can literally use any camera for that, and it's cost effective for the features. I wouldn't recommend anything else under that, even though there are other great cameras that are good autofocus. Like I said, my go-to live streaming camera since 2019 is the Sony a6400, but I don't recommend that because for the price per feature set, you get better value, bang for your buck with the ZVE10. Now, I know you say you don't want side flippy screen, but you just need to accept, okay, that it's better. All right, but the flip up screen, I mean, at that point, like, yeah, it'd be like the A6400 though. It'd still do 1080p 60 if it has to be the flip up or what have you. But that's what I would say. So hopefully that answers your questions. If you need more clarifying answers, just feel free to throw that up in the chat and let me know. Let me see how. Wait, said Diana didn't see your super chat. I do see the troop. Okay. So for those of you that are new to the Friday Live Helpcast, y'all don't know this, but those who are already existing members that have been here, it takes me a while to get through the chat because I tend to exhaustively answer and try to give complete answers to the chat questions instead of just like a, check off and move on. So the chat could be like 30 minutes behind. It could be allegedly could be 30 minutes behind. I can neither confirm or deny, but it could be 30 minutes behind. That's all I'm saying. Let me see. And then the super chats don't silo themselves out, so it's kind of hard in between all the different ones. But I'm doing my best out here in these streets. Okay. Okay. Where did I leave off at? Okay. Dang it. See, man, you threw me off. Now we're going to be an hour behind. We're going to be an hour behind. Okay, we're back to the top. Book questions. What time do these start? Okay. And said, also, since I'm in an igloo in Canada, the currency is a bit different. Yes, the currency it'll be a bit higher, but you don't need to spend $3,000 for what you're trying to do. You don't. Just because you have the 3K doesn't mean you need to spend it. And the camera is easy. The lenses are better. Again, the use case depends. The Sigma 16 is fine if you're doing live streaming, stuff like that, or again, home office studio, whatever. Vlogging, it's going to be the 10 to 18 f4. regardless, if you're choosing like an APS-C, if you want to go full frame, that's a different conversation. But even then, a flip up screen, full frame, budget friendly A7 III, original A7 III, and you have a bunch of other cameras like the A7R models. Usually have really good video features and stuff, and it's a tilty flippy screen. So it just depends, I don't know why you want the tilty flippy screen, but I'm just saying yes, bootleg is bountiful out here. We know to expect the best from you. Expect the best from you, Diana. Value pack. Are there any pre-sales already for the book? No. So the book is not like, it has to go to the editor. We're not doing typos and all of that. I ran it through a couple different software tools for the book, but we haven't done pre-orders and pre-sales and all that stuff yet. At best will be probably like a waiting list. So like you all have updates and maybe, the first so many people get, some other things. Like I said, I'm be doing some giveaways, not just like digital copies. I am doing the audio book myself. So you will get your in-person Bees Knees Hall of Fame, okay, via Audible. And like I said, the biggest thing for me right now, before any pre-sales and stuff can become available, is making sure that it gets edited. Any revisions and things for the flow. I started reading the book myself this morning to check for pacing, flowing. Is there anything that's confusing, or did I start saying something but maybe I didn't quite finish it, or what have you? So it's in the editing process, early stages of edit, but I literally just finished writing the book. But as soon as pre-sales and all this stuff become available, I'll let you all know. I'll probably create, some kind of, like I said, email list or something like that for that, because it's a lot to come with that. Big Pontiac, good to see you in the building. Glad that you are here. Saying, love my ZVE10 with my Sigma Trinity. You really helped swing my decision with your guys. Well, I appreciate that, Code Tap. Glad to be of service. Do you look at channels specifically and give advice? Well, we can. We haven't done that in an actually long time, but indeed we can. Let's see here. The Happy Homemaker. Let's see what you got. First of all, it's about coming up in the search. Excuse me, if possible. Oh, that's not you. Or is it? I don't think that's you. I'm not going to put her on the screen because I don't think so. Mrs. Happy Homemaker. Somebody's trying to bite your name. Yeah, so I'd have to find the link to your channel and the like. But if you want a channel review, just let me know. Put it in the chat and then we can come back around to it. Let's see here. My best add-on was the bolt to the Mini. Hold on. Hello. I did find your channel, the Happy Homemaker. So just let me know. My best add-on was the bolt on the Mini to the FDM. What? Full HDMI connector for a cage to preserve the... Yeah, okay. So that thing that I was talking about. It goes from a female full HDMI to a micro HDMI male that attaches to the cage. That's helpful, especially I found when traveling. And most of the time, you don't have the micro HDMI cables and all of that. They have some clamps and stuff to hold the cables in place, but when you start running like 30 and 50 foot HDMI cables, they're heavy, and that weight does pull on the port. At home and stuff like this, you don't run into that issue so much, but traveling, doing events, or maybe you're traveling doing video podcasts, whatever, that kind of stuff does tend to weigh on what you're doing. So that is something to consider. Blind guy, his wife, their life. Thanks so much. I think I already said this for travel. I was torn. Always love you. I think I don't know if I said that already, but thank you for the super chat. I really sincerely appreciate it if I did not already see that. Said loop is on the screen viewfinder thing. Don't know what you mean. So you're gonna have to help me out there. Alrighty. Let's see. All right, catching up on the chat. Saying this content is priceless, so we all win. I appreciate that. If I can just stay up to par. All right, saying Fujifilm is also great with the firmware updates. Yeah, that is where Fuji stands out the most, is just keeping up with those firmware updates, just because they know they're fighting, constantly fighting for that, and I don't blame them. Good Dad Addicted to Diana's live stream. I appreciate it. Here to help. Specific question. Aw, appreciate that. Don't y'all miss that? Welcome everybody, United States freaking military air support. But it has not been that loud in weeks. I feel like they do tap into live streams, just like Doc said, and just hop on, just like Breaker 2937. She's live. Go ahead and buzz right over the house. It ain't been that loud in weeks. Live stream today. I'll bring back the Friday Live Helpcast. Let's buzz over the house. All right. See how it is, United States military. Appreciate it. Alicia Perkins, good to see you. Glad that you are here. How do you feel about third-party streaming apps like Restreaming StreamYard? So it's really, third part. I think to classify them as a third-party streaming app, kind of makes it feel like it's meh, but it's not, because it's most of these software tools like YouTube, when they got rid of YouTube Hangouts some years ago, the native options for like live streaming stuff in a good way kind of went away. Yeah, they have something now, but it has too many quirks and limitations that still need improvements. So stuff like Restream honestly did a lot of updates, and they have made some really great advancements when it comes to being able to host a live stream, being able to host a conference, being able to manage the back office, green room stage type stuff in a digital space, and integrating a bunch of different tools while simultaneously streaming to a bunch of places. So Restream definitely has my respect, especially with the Restream. I almost call it like Restream Pals, but it's not Restream Pals. It was called something else, but allowed, like, so if it was myself, let's say it was you, and we were doing a live interview or podcast together, we both could simultaneously be on our own channels while we're also on your channel or whatever. So that kind of stuff is great. It's a really good job. StreamYard started off real rocky, real questionable in some areas, and the quality for the most part was always my thing. They prize ease of use above the quality, so I understand that's their value systems, but it wasn't mine. So I'm Team Ecamm, been with Ecamm since 2018. So I was like, but they overall have done a fantastic job. What I really do appreciate, if I'm being very honest and transparent, I really like and appreciate how, like I said, they keep pushing the bar. They keep continuously adding in new features that overall make the efficiency of the tool and also help to, people live stream with whatever kind of computer that they have. And because it's all browser based. However, for some of us creators that use our stuff outside of something, like if you don't have internet access, this is where these kind of cut off at. That's it. I can't record any of the podcasts. I can't record any of the micro content. I can't do an off-camera recording with interviews like what we did with Sylvia Andrew Nixon of Press and So. We can't do that off screen if we don't have internet. Well, with Ecamm, I don't have to have internet for me to do all this stuff. I just need my computer. So there's pros and cons to everything. And it's really about what is going to be the most efficient tool based on what you're trying to do. I, prioritize quality and efficiency, and Ecamm does that 10 times over 10. I also value the fact that they listen to their users, and they're very, very, like, as soon as you say something, they be like, oh, yeah, we can change it. And not, before my brand was established, when I was just getting started, like I said, 2018 and stuff like that, I'm making content, but haven't, made any waves, haven't like built and established a brand or anything like that. I'd send suggestions, recommendations, whatever. So I'm sending stuff to the owners. They're like, yeah, we can do that. We can make that change. It's there in like 3-4 days. I did not have that experience with a lot of these other companies, especially like beta testing and stuff. And so it kind of make you feel like, I don't know. So my experience has been absolutely fantastic with Ecamm. So they are my bread and butter for 99% of the content that I create. For that and many other reasons. Do I think anything's wrong with Restream or like StreamYard or something like that? No. If that's what works for you, that's what's going to help you serve your vision to the world, go for the gold. However, as for me and my house, we will use Ecamm. So I think they're great. It's just a matter of what's best going to serve you. Mr. Camera Junkies, I like the Fuji dials. You need deliverance, brother. Don't nobody want to be doing this all day. Oh, what's the aperture? The shutter speed. Let me change this. And throwing up gang signs while you're trying to freaking set your camera. Nobody likes that, okay? Nobody likes that, Mr. Camera Junkie. No, but Fuji's cool. AK-30 will eat SD cards for breakfast. Hopefully it can write to SSDs like the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. So, yeah. About that 10-bit 4K 60 lifestyle, you're in a whole nother different world when it comes to the online storage, local storage solutions, SD cards. I don't think people know and really pay attention to how much UHS 2 SD cards cost that handle that. Allow us to do a small education moment for how much and how expensive these things are. I remember initially when I learned about UHS 2 back in the day, and I'm like, oh, this is a scam. Somebody's overinflating the price. I use the SanDisk Extreme and Extreme Pro cards. $177 for 128 gigabytes. That is a sneeze worth of content when you're doing 4K 60 plus, let alone try to throw some 8K in there. 10-bit 422 ProRes, all like, yeah, all right. Good luck, Chuck. You're going to get a 1-minute clip of anything. So, yeah, especially when you're looking at higher bitrate files, which means it's more quality packed into all. Yeah, good luck. Some of these random brands, I'm not playing with those. Ritz gear, no, I'm not playing with those. What was the other one? ProGrade is pretty good. ProGrade is pretty good. Let me just look that one up because I do want to see the price. And for my cards, that's the route that I'm going with the UHS 2 cards. But even still, $144 for a V90 card. Still 128 gigabytes. You better be real concise with that content. You better be on the ball. Do you hear me? No mistakes. No mistakes. So yeah, it will eat the 10-bit. And I think you bring up a great point here, Code Tap. I think we are in a place where like the next set of requirements and recommendations for gear for content creators is going to be, can I connect my external SSD drive that I have 1,000 gigabytes or 1 terabyte for those that aren't familiar with the terabyte translation and stuff. It's 1,000 gigabytes. Can I take this 2 terabyte SSD and just connect it up to this so I don't have to be bothered with SSD cards? Because that is expensive. And I really don't want to be about that life unless I'm on the go. But if, you're at an event or something like that, I want SSDs. I highly agree with you. So I think that's something we absolutely need to be looking and pressing for. Hello, Exploring Canada. Good to see you. Saying glad you're back for the Friday live stream. Congratulations on finishing your first book. That's a huge, why, thank you so very much. I'm so glad to see you. Some of y'all are regular faces on the channel that I've seen, and even from the previous live stream. So I really appreciate you being here. I really, really do. And it's good to see you as well. Yeah, it's I told my mom and my dad, I always share my accomplishments still with my mom and dad. And so I was like, y'all can kiss the ring. I'll text my siblings. Y'all can kiss the ring like the pontiff. And just be like, hey, you got an author in the family. Be bougie now. Okay, walk around in a cream white robe, all right, with fluffy bunny slippers and all that, sipping on hot cocoa in the wintertime. We're finna get real bougie out here in these streets, okay? Go and do book signings at Barnes & Noble. We may not even be in Barnes & Noble just yet, but I'm just going to sit in there. I'm going to take my books and I'm going to sit in there, okay? I'm going to set up shop. They can be like, ma'am, what are you doing? I'm like, mind your business. We're doing a book sign. They're like, man, we don't even carry your book. They can check out with me. Don't worry about this. I'm borrowing the table and the location, so mind your business. They expect it to come into a theater near you, but no. I'm really excited though. It's a really special moment for a lot of reasons. Just because these books and stuff around here, they're not for show. Like, I read them, I study them. They've meant a lot and helped to change and mold my belief systems, my thought patterns, all of that. It's been very meaningful. So to have a book that potentially will be meaningful for somebody else, and help them along on their journey, it's all about reciprocity. It's all in reciprocity. Janice, good to see you. Glad that you are here. Saying congratulations on finishing your book. Why, thank you, my dear. I sincerely appreciate that. Again, I'm really excited about that announcement. So I have a question. If I'm choosing a wide angle lens for landscaping and astrophotography, should I get a prime lens or something with a limited zoom? Would a prime lens hurt my shop? Thinking like a 40 millimeter f2. I would say go ahead and get a f1.4 for that, just so you're not fighting for light or, certain settings, or if you're dealing with light pollution or, just the various scenarios that you sometimes can be in. I would prefer to have a lower aperture and not need it than need a lower aperture and not have it in a lens. So I would say start with a prime lens. Go for something like an f1.4, something like the Viltrox that we talked about a little bit earlier, or the Sigma 16, even if you got one used just to try to see if you like it or not. I would go, that route. Even a manual focus lens that is a lower aperture lens, and putting that to the test. But again, I would rather have the lower aperture and not need it than need it and not have it working with an f2. It seems like a small difference, but for that specific use case, I would definitely go with a prime. And I would definitely go with a lower aperture than an f2, in my opinion. Saying congrats on the book. It'll be great. Why, thank you so much, Sebastian. I appreciate that. Saying good, I'm buying one for myself for Christmas. That's my excuse to spend. Thankfully, you know what I don't miss about these live streams? Oh, some of the comments that come there afterwards. Or my husband watches your show and he bought, I'm like, ma'am, this is not my problem. Y'all handle that in your household. I'm just sharing thine information, okay, to help entrepreneurs and creators simplify the video creation process, help them reach wider, connect with people that need the most. Ain't my fault if your husband spent $2,000 on a camera that we talked about a lot and got all these accessories. I can't be held responsible, ma'am. All I did was put the links in the description. He clicked on them. He put your card number in. He put your card. He did that. I have nothing to do with it. It's not my fault. So, should go for the gold. So I really appreciate the information. Love the format. We'll be coming back. Great vibe in the community. Well, you are always welcome here. The Black Pew Podcast. Like I said, I love that podcast name. It's super dope. Then also A6100, if you can find one, a good deal. Team flip up. Never convert. Heathen. The shade. The only thing with the A6100, well, it is a flippy upper screen. In English, screen. Yeah, if you could, 1080p 60, but there's no log. So we don't know if that's important or not, but there's no log. But it's kind of like, But yeah, that one would be a cool option if you can, get your hands on one. A6100s and such. Question saying I need a second camera for a new angle. I have the Canon R6 in a wide lens. Right now I have the Canon 60D, but it's not 4K. What do you recommend? So for a new angle, most of the time a second angle is usually a wider shot or it is a closer shot. So if you have the 60D, you probably can turn that at some point to like an overhead shot or something with a nice, good prime lens or a good sharp zoom lens or something on it. Probably a good prime lens or something. And just use it in that way as an overhead shot to give you extra range so that camera has a use. And then if you have the Canon R6 already, this is a little controversial, but if you don't plan to use it past anything beyond that second angle shot, depending on what you're trying to do, you might be looking at some of the lower tier R cameras, maybe even the EOS R, because it has a higher bit rate, even though it doesn't have like the higher quality resolution fully. It's something to test and see how you like it though. However, there is something to be said about having the exact same cameras, exact same camera models, no matter what the use case is in your recording and office space. And that comes down to the autofocus consistencies or whatever. Maybe it's a locked off shot or something. The color differences and shifts, ports, functionality, system setups, and the like. Even though a lot of cameras across a lot of manufacturers are very similar, at the same time, it's the slight differences. So, for example, when I talked about like the ZV-10 versus the A6600, same brand, same menu, same mount, all these other things, but it's the miniature differences of like maybe the screen orientation, or it's not quite the same. So you have to know yourself and knowing, am I going to get frustrated if I have to keep dealing with these micro inefficiencies consistently? So what I would suggest is rent something like the R. Well, yeah, I don't like the R that much, but it can do 4K and it can do it at a higher bitrate file, which can get you get away with that second angle. But if you ever plan to use it for something else, just get either the exact same camera, like another R6 or something, or even like an R7, excuse me, that actually is a good quality. It is good autofocus. It is updated. It's still with Canon. It's still on the RF mount and all of those things. So, maybe go that route. But, I mean, if you're trying to go cheap, which I wouldn't recommend it, like in this case, like I said, you can try it, but just get something like an R7. Just get something like an R7 as that side angle shot, and just see how you like it. If you don't want to buy one outright, you can rent it with something like Lens Rentals. I believe my code of Diana15 will still get you 15% off or something. But if not, just DM me and I can send you the link, the referral link or whatever. It'll give you like $25 off of your first rental. So just let me know and I can send you the referral link for that. But it should be diana.link/lens rentals for that referral link. So try that and let me know if you have any questions or issues. Michael Cunnington, good to see you. Glad you're here. Saying FX3 or FX30. Personally, FX30 for me, because it's APS-C and that is my preferred sensor size. I don't need full frame. There's the differences in the additional background blur or the extra little bit of low light. Like is not anything that I actually would use or get true benefit from with the kind of content that I create. So if that is something that you would benefit from, then yeah, maybe the FX3 would be great, but I don't care about, like, I'm not jazzed by it. Like, I feel like everybody drunk the Kool-Aid of the full frame. It's just like, oh, it's better. And it's like, look at this. Who is that back there on that picture? Can anybody tell me that haven't seen it on like a vlog or something like that? Who is this? Who's this picture? You know why y'all don't know? Because it's already blurry. Would it matter if the frame for the black or the actual image is that much more blurrier? It's like, no. Can you tell the difference if I move the table forward or move it backward for that extra little bit of millimeters difference between a 1.5 times crop versus no crop? No, not really, because the differences most of the time are very minuscule. So I didn't drink the full frame Kool-Aid. So for my personal preferences, I would choose an FX30. But if you would get benefit based on your intended use case out of a full frame camera, then something like the FX3 would be a great option, or even an A7S III, which is the exact same internals, just a hybrid body design that can be more beneficial for some creators. Sam757 saying that answers my question a bit, but I'm still leaning towards the A6600 more than the ZV-10. But I also have found an A7R. The A7R Mark II is pretty cool, and the autofocus was pretty reliable. It's pretty good. So the A7R, not so much. A7R II, only thing with those older cameras is not the A6600, but the older A7R cameras or A7 cameras even, overheating, limited, as far as live streaming or recording. Well, live streaming you'd be fine, but recording, you had a 30-minute limit with those cameras, again, not the A6600. So again, make your list of non-negotiables of what are all the things that I'm planning to create with this content, not just for right now, maybe next year, even the year afterwards. So you're not having to buy a camera every year kind of thing. Do you have full frame lens money? Seriously, worth considering that. That's the thing. Full frame lens money is a real conversation. What is it? The 16 to 35 f2.8 f2.8 Sony FE lens is a beautiful lens. The price, listen, it's serious business when you get into full frame territory. My biggest thing though about full frame, it's not the quality. The price you can kind of mitigate at different times. But for me personally, the weight is always the thing. This is by far, I'm waiting, I'm praying, I'm hoping, I'm trying to throw whatever hints, advice, tips. Sony, if you're watching this, if somebody that knows Sony is watching this, if my plugs at Sony is watching this, can we get a lens like this for APS-C with optical steady shot in it, please? Por favor. Thank you. This lens right here, Bees Knees Hall of Fame, do everything versatile lens. By far one of my favorite full frame lenses, but you also see the price is more than the Sony FX30. Now the 16-55, I think f2.8 that they came out with doesn't have optical steady shot. That's for the Sony APS-C. It's also relatively high. So, but that's also like a G lens too or whatever. But $21.98, I'm good. For right now, I'm good. I don't, may the Lord bless you and keep you always. We ain't about that. Like, what is that Sony? But this is the lens that they really need to update. 16-55, 2.8G. Because you also have stuff like the 17-28, f2.8 by Tamron. You also have the 28-75 f2.8 by Tamron. You also have the 17-70 f2.8 by Tamron. And all of those lenses are under $1,000. So you have a lens like this, 16-55 f2.8. Keep this price in mind, $13.98. All right? Roll with the punches here. It's 17-28 f2.8 Tamron. Got $13.98, $7.99. $7.99. Why would I? So full frame is great. May the Lord bless you and keep you always. But APS-C, like I said, it's the way I describe it to help people understand the difference. You have, if you think of it in French fries, average drive-through French fries restaurant place, what have you, you have full frame, that's like your large. You have APS-C, that is like your mediums. And then you have micro four thirds, that's like your smalls. What do most of us get when we're going through the drive-through? We get a medium. It's just enough to get you full, to get you all the things that you want, and you move on about your day. Do you have a diabetic coma after you eat some of that stuff, or high cholesterol? Absolutely. But we're not going there for the health benefits. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to the sensor sizes, APS-C is like that medium. It gives you all the things that you want. It's not overdoing it. It's not slightly underdoing it with micro four thirds. Not that micro four thirds is weak. Take that the wrong, because I know some Panasonic folks be coming out the wood that don't know comments. Whole stream. I say Panasonic autofocus. I can't believe that you would say it's on par. And I'm like, did you wake up and spill your coffee? Calm down. It's like we can have opinions and agree to disagree. But, as far as lenses and stuff like that, yeah, lens conversation with full frame is, you need to be a working professional or just have the bandwidth to make those purchases. And again, it's got to be an efficiency thing to quality ratio for that to make sense, in my opinion. So I also found the Sony VCT. What would be? I don't even know what that is. I'm like, you found a VCR? Where'd you find that at? Was it at the thrift store? VCT VPR. Jeez, what even is that? VCT VPR. Listen, I don't even know what that is, okay? Say I'm out here trying to... A cart? The wheelie? No. Let's go to Amazon, because I don't know. They're not doing that there. I have no idea what this is. If this is a camcorder or something, we're going to have a much deeper family conversation here in a minute. This thingy here, I would imagine the camera remote. I mean, for what though? For what though? That I mean, honestly, is what it boils down to. For a remote to no. We got a bootleg tripod that probably fell off the back of a truck someplace, because them things be crackling and plasticky. Now, they trying to make it a video head on there based on the design type and stuff. But anytime you see those click-clacky, twisty style on the sides, no, you're not, yeah, no. No. Yeah, no, I can't see nothing like that. Especially, it'd be one thing if it's just $20, whatever, go have fun with it. But $90 or something, I can't see the value truly in being there for something like that. Seriously. Because the problem with these kind of things, and it's not like being bougie or something, it's really about when you do get into panning and you do get into tilting and all those different things, potentially for a certain functionality, what you run into the problem being is the plastic has no like ball bearings and stuff in there for it to glide smoothly. So if we looked at just a video bowl tripod head, just to show you like the difference that like, okay, so even if we went with this newer model here, this is going to give you far better functionality because it's based off of these Manfrotto design systems that has worked really well. And it's actually going to be a smooth panning experience. Now, when you're doing something like, what was it in 2019? I did the Think Media, recorded the Think Media Grow with Video live event. Okay. For that event, I had a tripod just like it. I can't remember the exact model for the Manfrotto model, but this is the kind that I was using. In order for me to follow Heather, in order for me to follow Sean, or when they're making the transition from the hostess is coming down, she's handing the microphone to Sean and he's grabbing it, or grabbing it to Omar and he's grabbing it. Okay, and I'm making these small precision shots and stuff like that, and you're panning. When you get those plasticky kind of tripods, just like tick, 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 tick. I don't care how small you try to make that micro adjustment, you get that tick, tick, tick. And that's what you see, honestly, for a lot of churches. Because when you buy too cheaply, you buy the problems that come with being cheap. And so you playing with this click-clack system, and now you're jarring everybody instead of just having something that is actually video-centric so you can make those small precision adjustments. Because honestly, when you're doing follow focus for any event, even if it was something like this, pictures on here showing stalker, for the field of view that you have for a camera, you're making micro adjustments, just small micro adjustments in order to be able to follow to keep that person in frame. Usually when you're using like the rule of thirds, you're just keeping them in that center grid. That's all you're doing. You're making micro adjustments. When you get those plasticky things, you get the tick, tick. No, not about that life. It's a waste of money. Saying HDMI to micro HDMI. So Camera Junkie throwing in a link for that. Appreciate you, brother. Saying fashion with seatbelts, bing. Y'all not right. Y'all not right. Saying the loop you mentioned, holding your hand over the camera. Oh yeah. Thank you. Yes. So the I just called it the box thingy. I didn't know the proper terminology for that one. It's like, yeah, I'm like, just give me the box thingy. You put it over the screen. I don't know. Was it? I'm trying to remember who showed that recently on their channel about the FX30. Jevin, was it Jevin? Something or another. I'm sorry, I'm butchering his name. I can't recall in the moment, but yeah. So thank you for the education, everyone. We now know what a loop is. It's the official box thingy. I, in my countryness, will still call it the box thingy, but we all now know the proper grammatical terminology. So I appreciate you, my good sir. Saying the U.S. military sending that love. I'm saying, you think it was some kind of something going on. Saying thank you. I'm having a problem with keeping my video quality with Restream. I think I may have to get a Mac. I already have the Apple phone and the iPad. Still have my HP desktop. So, fun fact, those that I've coached into getting a Mac computer for live streaming, they still use their PC setup for all of their things that they prefer to use their PC setup. But when it comes to the live streaming, they just switched for Ecamm for the efficiencies to build out their show and doing all the things. Let me show y'all something real quick. So this is my Ecamm live setup. This is what my screen looks like right now. Do y'all see over here? Let me try to expand this out. This is what my block of shows and systems, and every time I'm trying to do something, it's all over here. So when I want to share the screen or something like that, I have these variations of depending on what type that I'm doing. When I'm doing the Video Simplified podcast, I have all of the systems of the stuff of what I'm doing, or I have it set up differently depending on the conversation and the flow of it for if I have a guest or not, based on how I want my show to look. When we did the Ecamm Simplified course, at the countdown screen, I'm like, it needs to come to just me on the camera. Then it needs to go to a screen share. What happens if I bring somebody on for a guest to demonstrate that? All of those different things, all the things we built out in that, all of that's right here. I have my stream assets that go for different kinds of stuff. So, any Amazon Live stuff, when we did the Mastering Micro Content course, all of that stuff was recorded in Ecamm in 4K because that made it easy and simple for me to do. When I want to do the Entree Chats Daily Morning Show, if I wanted to do a video version of that, I have it set up. Video Simplified Membership Community, we live tonight at 6 o'clock, y'all. So be on the stream. If you ain't there, I'm leaving. 5 minutes. We ain't there, I'm leaving. I'm going to bed. Okay? I'm going to bed. So we got the stream tonight. Got the community stream tonight. When I'm doing the trainings or I'm doing a pop-up video or whatever, I got all that stuff here. So literally, like this stuff, when I show people, it's not about brand loyalty or something like that. If I'm loyal to a brand in that aspect, it's because it works. It's because it works. If I'm doing an interview from 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't have it set up for the other ones. We can go up to 10. I don't have, it makes sense. So if I'm doing a training, all of that stuff is here. If I want to do a live stream on my blog channel, all that stuff is here. If I click on it for the branding, all that stuff is there. I don't have to do anything. If I'm going to do me plus a slide or me plus an active window, if I'm going back to the just me, like we've been doing for the stream, it's all there. So when I show people this and I break this down for them, or they say, I want to build this show and this is what I imagine, how complicated is that to do it? And I'm like, you got a Mac? They'd be like, yeah. I was like, schedule a 1 hour session. We can do it in an hour. I'll help you create it and build it on my computer so you can see everything of what I'm doing and explain it and you can see exactly how it's done. And then I'll send you the file so you have it. And I've done that for several clients. It's easy. For those of you, if you don't have it, for a free trial for you, if you have if you want to try it, use the promo code Diana, DIANA, the number 2 MOS, and that'll give you 2 months free of a free trial instead of it being 14 days. You can get it for 2 months. So Diana, the number 2, and then MOS all together. And that'll give you 2 months free trial for Ecamm. And if you have questions, just email us at support@dianagladney.com. We're very active in replying to that kind of stuff, questions and the like. But that's what I'm saying. Like the efficiency in this stuff is just there. Hell, I switched to Mac for Ecamm and Final Cut Pro. Just saying. I'm out here in these streets, and I have a Sony ZE-10 with a cam link. It's a good setup. James Hicks in the building. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Saying, what did do, Miss D? Good to see you. Says, hey, brother. It's good to see you, too, and congratulations. I saw it on Facebook. I don't know if I replied because I'm just really all the way off, for the most part, off Facebook. But I did see a post, I think, like yesterday or something, on the feed about you setting up a business or something. So congratulations to you, my brother, and your new endeavors. Wish you the best. Hey, man, I'm an author now. I'm going to get a shirt. Sylvia, Andrew, we need a shirt saying, oh, hey, I'm an author now. Ask me about my book. So every podcast I'm being, so in the book, chapter 13, we talk about, just in my book, I'm going to start every sentence off. Diana, what kind of coffee you like? So in my book, I tell you about the Columbia Rose. Hey, like, Diana, you want to go out to eat today? Yeah, so in my book, I share with you that I think white chocolate gets the bees. I'm not going to lie. Okay, side rant. Y'all do know how you listen to a podcast, maybe it's like a show that you already like, and you regularly listen to and something, and they do bring somebody on, and they did just write a book of it. Everything starts off with, yeah, so in my book, I'm like, yeah, so how'd you get started in business? They're like, yeah, so in my book, I talk about in chapter 2. Everything is so, yeah, so in my book, so I'm gonna be like that now. So you hear me on podcasts, y'all give me some grace. It's happening. Saying, what is your book about? my book is, I keep wanting to say the title, but I'm mentally having to skip over that for the moment until I get the cover so I can reveal the whole shebang. I did share that with the Video Simplified community, so y'all keep that on a hush. Those of you in the membership community, keep it on a hush for limited time only, okay, until I get the cover completed and all of that. But the book is about how to take your videos for entrepreneurs, how to take your videos from bland to bingeable, essentially. For entrepreneurs, the one thing that I universally find is they find it hard to connect with storytelling and how do I craft a video and how do I make a video if I'm a real estate agent, a consultant, or some kind of business owner. How do I take my videos, share my vision and brand on YouTube, and actually make it make sense? So like it's just not these, boring videos, more or less. So it goes through my clarity framework that I teach on how to make sure your videos do the job that they are intended, but how they also put the brand first. So not the brand, but the viewer first. So more details on that. Excuse me. I have more refined details and stuff on it, but essentially that's what it's like. And that's the premise behind the book. So yeah. Okay, thank you. Oh, Bishop Fryer, good to see you. Glad that you're here. And congratulations on your book. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that. And sincerely, I do. Better homes and credit cards. So y'all, if you're new here, you would have had to been here for the previous Friday lives. Would it have been earlier this year or end of the? I don't know. It would have been last year. Well, yeah, it would have been last year, last October, when I was trying to convince everybody to come to People of Video in Albany, New York. Doc and I were speaking, in addition to a bunch of our other creator friends. And I'm like, just tell your spouse that this is not a marriage retreat, because then they're going to want to come, because we were going to go to B&H Photo Video. So I was like, I created this fake graphic, like you need to convince your spouse that you're going for like solo therapy or something. It was funny. So that's where it's the Veteran Homes was the name of that company, the fake company. So Kerwin, good to see you. Glad that you're here. What's going on? Long time no see. I'm telling you, it has been a while. And apparently we got the first bot of the season, which is wonderful, but not really. The bot's been out of control. I think we got a few moderators in the chat, so hopefully that's resolved. If not, y'all let me know. But obviously that's nothing we subscribe to. Saying if I had that on my A6600, I'm good. Well, I mean, like I said, A600 needs an update. I hope it's a body redesign too. Like, I don't know what they should do to it exactly, but I do hope the A6000 series APS-C cameras get a body design update. I don't know what they could do, but just better, more attractive, something. Belated thanks for the comments about Restream and StreamYard. I hope the learning curve for Restream is too big. Oh, you're very welcome. It's not. And they have great videos. And then you also have creators like my friend Kirk Nugent that makes a lot of tutorial content as well on Restream. So if you want to see what some of those inner workings and things are, definitely check out his videos. Be sure to check out the description and stuff if you sign up for an account or something. I would highly encourage you, whoever you're learning from, go and support them by clicking on their link. It definitely does help. But I would recommend Kirk Nugent, K-I-R-K, Kirk Nugent for that, for Restream. He has a lot of great tutorials on that. So if you want to see that, I'd recommend my brother. Saying I'm just buying the tripod for the remote, the newer thing in the remote, and I place it on the handle. Even still, like, you can get the external remotes. I mean, if you like it, may the Lord bless you and keep you always. But that's all I'm saying. Saying, do you have a desk setup video? Jamrock, good to see you. No, do you want to know why? Because there's a book, there's a bookmark, there's a journal, there's two things of chapstick. It's I switched my audio interface for another thing that I'm testing right now. It's Loop Deck Live. I have a protein shake that looks like it's turning into sludge over here. I have a coffee mug. I have some gum. No, I don't do the desk setup videos. Do you know why? Because it's not attractive. It's a actual working, busy desk setup that looks like y'all's. It don't look like the Instagram oh, this is behind the scenes of my desk, and it doesn't look like I ever worked. There's no dust anywhere. There's no gum paper from this morning and chewing. Like, no, because then I have to clean all this stuff off, hide it off camera, show the desk to make it look pretty, and then and then put it all back because I'm using this stuff. So no, I don't have a desk setup video. Probably when I get a new monitor, because this one is going out. Haven't decided on what to get, but I'll probably get something when the holidays or whatever come up. But no, I don't have a desk setup video. You know why? Because my desks look like I work in here. It don't look Instagrammable. It don't look pretty. It's not ready for camera. So no, I haven't done any videos on a desk setup. I do occasionally maybe cover like my live streaming setup, but that's the extent of it. For real. Ty Christmas Clatter, good to see you. Glad that you are here. Yeah, T Davis laughing. Better in Homes. We're going to have to do another Better in Homes. You know what I wish, Luis? Like we had done like a fake ad. Like how you see on like Mad TV or what is it? Saturday Night Live. I'm thinking Mad TV. Saturday Night Live. That's what I would. You need to make a fake ad for Better in for Better in Homes. Still running strong my ZV-10. The ZV-10 is going to be not a hard camera to beat, but I think for many asterisk years to come, at least for the next, I'd even say like 3 or 4 years, if you need a camera to sit on a tripod, 4K, 30 frames per second, maybe don't ever use the 1080p 120 frames per second, but maybe you occasionally use the 1080p 60. It's USB-C, clean HDMI out. You have the, the product showcase mode, incredible eye autofocus tracking, face detection autofocus, like you name it, it has it. Internal live streaming, like that camera. Even though there'll be new ones out, they'll probably come out one that has IBIS and stabilization, no rolling shutter in 4K and all kinds of stuff. That camera will still be great. It'll still be a great camera. I still will love using it. I'll get other ones, but it'll still be a great camera because it does all the bare necessities, non-negotiables, must-have list of things to have. It does them, and it does it well. So, it is what it is. It's great. So run the ZV-10, the Sigma 16, and Sony 11. That 11 is a fun lens. Thanks for answering my questions. I'm going to log off. I hope you have a great rest of your day. You as well. Glad that you're here. Thanks for the questions that you have. It's great to see you. Have you or will you be going... or will you be doing a masterclass on the setup and functions of a podcast? I hadn't thought about it because, I hadn't thought about it. So what I've considered, like I have a list of ideas of things that I imagine would be important to certain creators. Is something else that I do have in mind. When it comes to video podcasting, that I have a coming soon thing for. But as far as like a master class, like I said, right now, to be honest, the reason why I set up the membership community is because I personally, as somebody that has bought and buys a lot of courses and stuff like that, I just did not want to have to keep spot promoting. This thing is $97. This thing is $147. This thing is $247. Oh, this one is $1,047. Like I just did, and I get the value in it. Don't get me wrong. As content creating entrepreneurs, as an entrepreneur in general, we understand the value. Price anchoring, hashtag all the things. However, for certain things, there's just some things that I did not want to have to constantly make a product, promote it, or something like that, and then you only get that. That's why I made the membership community. It has the YouTube Simplified course in there. It has the the replays that we do for any of the not live streams because those stay on the channel, but other interviews, early access content. We have the Entree Chats Daily Morning Show. When the Mastering Micro content course came out, it wasn't around then, but that'll get uploaded and moved over there. I just didn't want to keep having a nickel and dime for certain things. So I made the membership community. I've done hardly zero promotion for the membership community, minus like a little bit, which is going to change. But I put everything there because I would rather have a membership community that when it comes to certain topics and stuff, we can just have it there and then everybody has it. And if we need to make follow-up content on it, we can. And if we need to do live content on it, we can for certain things. So I probably wouldn't make per se like a masterclass or something and like charge for it in that way. I might make it, something for a solo. If you want to just buy it solo, then fine. But if I did do something like that, I would put it in the membership community. You join the membership community, you get access. So that's what I would do. I do have, like I said, some things in mind for like a video podcast style setup, but it's a little different. It's going to be a little different. So, but I hadn't thought about a master class. It's just, nobody's expressed interest for something like that, except for this. And so somebody's interested or more than I'm thinking, let me know. Saying my desk looks like a mechanic shop. See, working professionals. That needs to be some kind of trend hashtag or something. Show me your real desk. Hashtag show me your real desk. Let me see. You got a coffee stain? Let me see. I got like 4 flipped over SD cards. This is hashtag show me your real desk. Okay, this is what it looks like. I got another pair of glasses that needs to be cleaned off, a USB cable, a twisty tie. I don't know what is happening with that one. Hashtag show me your real desk. Saying I appreciate you keeping it real. You're very welcome. Glad to be of service. Saying hello, good to see you, Mountain of Inspiration. Glad that you are here. Saying thumbs up, done. Appreciate it. Thanks for hitting the like button. I'm glad you're getting value out of the stream. Saying, or maybe a ZV10 masterclass lighting. That's where me and my friends struggle with lighting to buy. So, excuse me. There is a video on the channel on lighting, and if you go to the YouTubes, which even at this point, I'm not gonna lie, which is why I try to provide those links as much as possible. When my assistant and I have gone, she'd be like, didn't you make a video around? I'm like, yeah. She'd be like, do you know where it's at? I'm like, no. It's like, it's a lot of content on the channel. I'm like, I don't know. So if you go over here to YouTube, over here in this search, and then you put lighting, it's not going to be like ZVE10 like specific or whatever, but this video on how I light my home office videos here, this one is going to be very, very helpful because it goes and shows you how to take it from something that looks like that when you just turn the lights on. I hadn't even, that's throwback. Office looks real Babbage. So I share with you the breakdown and the essentials of how to, so this would be the video that I would recommend that takes you to, when we get to the end here, like you're building up the scene for your lighting so that you understand. Pause face. Let's find a better pause one. We're not trying to be, and that one's still weird. Come on, help a sister out. All right, that's the best we can do. Shoot, pause face. But show you how to take it from looking like up here where you just turn the lights on and this is what you get, and you got all these weird shadows on your face, to developing what your actual look looks like and building up the lighting. So what I always recommend though, like I'm gonna put this link in the description so that you can see it. But when you're lighting your videos, it doesn't matter like essentially what camera per se, but you need to understand I'm gonna put this in the chat real quick. You need to understand like, where are we recording at? Are there ceiling lights? Is there ambient lights in the room? You need to learn to evaluate the room. Okay, once I see, okay, we got a light, let's close the blind so I can control the lighting. Where am I going to place it? How is it shining on me? In some scenarios, maybe you don't shine the light directly on you because you look like a deer in headlights. So maybe you bounce it off the white wall or the ceiling so that it is more evenly exposed. Or make sure you have just really good diffusion, which is always essential when you're lighting something. Maybe we don't have it directly in our face. The Elgato key lights are a great light, but the advertisement sucks for it because it shows it blasting in people's faces and it looks terrible. If you can't do this with your lighting and your thing, you're overexposed. You should be able to see the fine details in the inner part of your hand is always going to be brighter than the darker part of your hand. Like the hue is going to be lighter. So if I can do this and face my hand towards a light right here, I have a light just directly off the side of here, another fill light. If I can do this, I should be able to see the fine details in my hand. Matter of fact, where's my remote? Covered up by things. Hashtag show me your real desk. If I can do this, you can see the details in my hand, right? And so I can see the lines, I can see the bright parts, I can see all of that, right? I should be able to see the details in my hand. When I turn it over, I still should be able to see the details and block my face, A6400. Still should be able to see the details in my hand. If I turn up the exposure or the lights are too bright. The lights, I don't even know what they're at anymore as far as strength wise, but they're not at 100%. They usually are, I don't know where my stuff is, but they usually are pretty low because it's this light, as close as I am, it doesn't need to be at 100%. Maybe it's like 40 or 35 or something. This light on the side doesn't need, if I turn my hand this way, you still can see like details. It's not blasting and there's diffusion. So the goal is to light the space and light your, well, depending on how you want to light the space, but light the subject so that you can sit in front of it. But a good identifier, and this is with the monitor light and reflecting off and all kinds of stuff, and the lights there, I should be able to see the details of my hand. If it's too bright or I'm seeing hot spots like here, right here, right here on my face, if it's too bright, you're overexposed. There's another video that we did on the channel about the exposure triangle, like Simplified or something. Let me see if I can find that one real quick. Triangle. Let me just see what comes up with exposure triangle. Yeah, so this video right here, I broke that down completely. Everything that you would need to know, because it's not just the lights by themselves. Let me share that link as well, because it's not just the lights itself. It's making sure that when you're sharing your camera settings and you're not sharing, but you're sharing the feed even to the computer and stuff like that, like make sure like the settings are accurate. So like if you're sharing it to like a monitor, you're sharing it to the computer, like Ecamm here, I need to make sure like, is my computer too bright and it's throwing off what I'm looking at? I always look at the camera screen itself when I'm trying to adjust it, because I'm looking at the numbers around the screen and stuff to tell me what's going on. What are the settings looking like? Are we overexposed or underexposed based on the settings? I'm not going to try to do that right now, because if I try to change the settings, it'll throw stuff off. But usually when I'm doing trainings and stuff, we've done a live stream breaking that stuff down somewhere still on the channel. And I show you all the active camera settings on the screen while we're on the live stream of what it actually is, so you can see how we start to dial that in. But it is a process, and I share that in that video. So hopefully those help you out. If you have questions, let me know. So I didn't know you have a community. I follow you on TikTok. How you doing? Go to diana.link/ or no, it's videosimplified.live. What am I thinking? So it's like, when I say, like, we have content in there. Let me see video. But it's like, we have a few people. And when I say a few, I mean a few people in there. So this is very early days of this membership. But if you want to join, go to videosimplified.live for the monthly membership community, and you get the courses that come in there. So this is the membership community. It's in Mighty Network, so you can use the app or you can come over here. But like when we do, not the events, but the courses, when you join the membership community, so like the building a team, I don't think that one's included with the overall membership, but you do get the Video Simplified playbook. That includes all of the replays. If I'm doing like a dedicated video or update on something, all that stuff is included. Even from previous years, all of that stuff is included in the Video Simplified playbook. Then you also get the YouTube Simplified course that we did, breaking down the YouTube content creation process, essentially. Like I said, there's a lot of great stuff in here. A couple things it's not released, but otherwise it's like, yeah, this is the YouTube Simplified course. Breaks it down. But I like it because I can, if I want to update it or add it, it's very easy for me to do. But all that stuff becomes available. Topics, all that stuff is available. We have the Entree Chats Daily Morning Show. That's a daily podcast that I do every morning at 6, or it releases every morning at 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So, yeah, like I said, it's very early days in the membership community and stuff like that. I've done, like I said, zero things to promote it or what have you in that sense, but it's videosimplified.live if you want to join the membership community. And then tonight, we have the community meetup. But like I said, if ain't nobody there in 5 minutes, I'm out. I'm leaving. Shoot. But yeah, so videosimplified.live. Let's see here. Saying hashtag work desk. I'm telling you, show me your real desk. So I finally got, okay, real quick, because y'all try to play me every time we do these Friday Live Helpcasts. Okay, this being the relaunch for the Friday Live Helpcast. Are there any other questions that we have? Because if not, y'all know we're going to shut it down. We're not doing no 5-hour energy live streams. If you're new here, the 5-hour energy live stream is when I literally would be doing a live stream for 5 hours nonstop. Why? Because I set a goal on my live streams to answer every question. So even if you leave, you can come back later on, pick up where you left off at in the live stream, and know that your question got answered versus being skipped over or something like that. So I try to value those that are here, in addition to, like, if you got to go, you got to go. You got to do what you got to do. Unlike some people, it's like India would leave, my friend India, leave, come back, like, I went to work, came back, y'all still live. We're not doing no 5-hour energy live streams. We've been live for almost 2 hours now. We're not going for 5 hours. Maybe one day, soon-ish, allegedly, we might do a 5-hour energy live stream, but not today. Okay? Not today. But we will be doing these Friday Live Helpcasts, 11:45 a.m. Central Standard Time, 12:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and whatever other Central whatever something times. Dr. Elo in the building, been here working in the background, but listening. Hope all is well. Appreciate you, Dr. Elo. Also another member, one of the few, the proud, the Video Simplified people. If you want to join the membership community, videosimplified.live. Like I said, we got the live tonight at 6 o'clock. But like I said, if ain't nobody there, I'm leaving. Nobody shows up, because it's only a handful of us in the membership community right now. But if you join, you do get access to the courses and stuff. Like I said, in the daily Entree Chats Daily Morning Podcast, which we do Q&A and stuff. What's your thoughts on OBS? Wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Sincerely. Would not touch it with a 10-foot pole. You know why? Because I value efficiencies and systems. OBS, while it is powerful, and yes, it is free, I value my time more than free, a free tool. You know what I'm saying? When I want to build something, like I said, when I was sharing with you all Ecamm, when I want to build something, I just can. I don't have to do all of this, feels like freaking HTML5 coding type stuff. I just can. I can build whatever I want. Needed to do the Ecamm Simplified course, great, did that. We need to build out all of this other stuff, from the community videos to the Amazon Live morning show, whatever. We can do it. I make all my courses in Ecamm. It does not take me long to do. I help clients with this all the time. When I'm doing my podcast, we're doing that on the Video Simplified podcast channel, and been doing those live recently. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole personally, but to each their own. But I just value efficiencies and systems. I don't want to, if something goes wrong, I don't want to be the person to have to troubleshoot. I like customer support. And Ecamm has great customer support. If and should I ever, run into any issues, I don't get like priority treatment or something like that. They're just great by themselves. So I like customer support. Yeah, that's a bug. We should fix that. Like I've been beta testing the multi-streaming. So, some of the streams we're doing on LinkedIn, some we're doing on not TikTok, but on Twitter. And so it'd be like, yeah, it's like it crashed in the middle, but because it's Ecamm, it fixes itself and you just restart and it picks up from where I left off at. You don't have to reconnect or nothing. And so, sent the message like, hey, update on the thing. It's like crashed. I'm like, okay, no worries. We'll fix it. And within like a day, It's like, here's the update. It's fixed now. You shouldn't give you any more problems. Test that out. And I'm like, okay, great. No more problems. I like customer support. I just don't like, I tried OBS back in the day. No, it just ain't, in my opinion, for me, it's not worth it. We're trying to do something out here in these streets, and wasting our own time is worse than allowing someone else to waste your time, because you know what you're trying to achieve. Somebody else may, inadvertently be wasting your time on accident for something or whatever, but they can only do what you allow them to do. Now, when you yourself waste your own time on purpose, it's more disrespectful, in my opinion. I'm not about that life. So that's why I don't touch OBS with a 10-foot pole. I wouldn't. I personally. If you like it, go for the gold. I just don't. I like systems. I like tools that let me use systems so I can efficiently create and go play with my nieces and nephews or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's other more valuable things. So we currently have no more questions. We have reached the end of the queue, and we're hitting that 2-minute mark real quick. Not 2 minute, but the 2 hour mark. And this was great. This was fun. I appreciate you all for being here for the rebirth of the Friday Live Helpcast. Again, 11:45 a.m. Central Standard Time every Friday. We'll be doing this live, so we'll be back next week. Not always just like Q&A only, but we will be covering those. Yeah. So in addition to other stuff. So with that, guys, live with passion. I'll see you on the next one, on the next video on the chat. Oh, wait. I knew it. Y'all play me every time. Jerindo, good to see you. Saying, I love doing content, but I can't sit down and edit my content. How do I get over this? See, I knew. As soon as I start saying, like, thanks for joining, everybody, we'll see you later. Question. Y'all do this to me every time. You do this on purpose. So you love doing your content. We can't sit down and edit your content. How do you get over this? So it's easy to say, just do it. Force yourself to do it. If you care about it, you do it. But sometimes it's a real reality in working with our limitations and working with how we are and how we vibe and stuff like that. So here's what I would recommend. When you're creating and you notice that it's hard for you to edit, like, yeah, you can hire an editor. We have the course on that. We have videos on the channel on that. If that's not something that you want to do, refine the process. You can always refine your creative process to make it easier for you to create. So if let's say you have energy bubbles, right? Sometimes the bubble's real big and you got a lot of energy. So it's harder for you to sit still. If on other days, it's like the energy bubble is not so big, it's easier for you to create. What fluctuates that? Is it sugar? Is it, life issues or whatever? Maybe your favorite team wins whatever championship thing and that makes you happy. Okay, like when you learn yourself, then you can start crafting content creation systems around yourself. So what are the things that when your energy bubbles are really big? Maybe dedicate those days towards content creation days. Those should not be editing days because your energy bubble is really big. On days where the energy bubble is really small, it's not distracting you, it's not frustrating you, now let's double down and really focus in on, like, okay, if I know I have a 7-minute video to edit, let's say this is the raw footage, it's like 7-minute raw file, a 21-minute video or something, like you're doing some deep dive training, maybe a 12-minute video or whatever. I teach the content quadrant, which breaks down that. I'm not going to get into it because we just don't have time for it. But if I know I have more energy to focus on a day versus another, I'm not going to go for the 21-minute edit or something. I want a quick win for that dopamine hit to maybe do it again. So I'm going to take the smallest video that I have to edit and edit that. Maybe it's a YouTube short. Maybe it's a TikTok video or something like that. Not a lot, but enough to check it off and say, I did it. And sometimes giving yourselves those wins are what's extremely helpful. So you say, okay, I did the 7-minute or I did the 60-second edit. And because you're energized, you're giving yourself those dopamine hits of the successes, those achievement factors. Now let's go for the 7-minute video. I also like to refine how I record content too. With me being someone that has stage 4 endometriosis, I had to create a system, and still use it to this day, around the days when I feel well, the days that I don't, and the days I literally just can't do anything. And it's nothing I can do about it. It could have been a day I planned to record content, but I physically can't. And so sometimes for those of you that like have ADHD and stuff like that, and Cody Warner has been a great resource. If you haven't checked out Cody's channel and even some of his posts on Instagram, he posts a lot about dealing with ADHD. I don't have ADHD, but I have friends that have ADHD. And so learning how they think, how they process, and how they focus helps me to help them, or helps me to understand even them better. I'm somebody I can lock in for 9 hours straight. All I need is some coffee. I'm not gonna get distracted. I'm a nerd. You know what I'm saying? Other people, they got to bounce something. So let's use this to your strength. Don't think of it as a weakness. Let's use it to your strength. And like I said, for you, I would think of it as energy bubbles, and just see on days I'm really pumped up, you amped, make that a content creation day. Have a list of videos that you want to create. Maybe go vlog, so you're getting more of that energy out and stuff. Maybe go make some Instagram stories or something like that. Get that energy out. Days that you can focus a little bit better. You're not all amped up. Now let's focus and make a system around how we can better, become a better producer of what we're doing, so you can progressively train yourself without beating yourself up psychologically, if that makes sense. Hopefully that helps. Excuse me. Say thanks, Diana, for the time. Always a pleasure, Mr. Camera Junkie. I appreciate that. Super chat in the building from Dr. Elo. Appreciate that. By the way, I am the new Be Live. Hey, hot freaking diggity dog. Congratulations, man. I'm so pumped and proud for you. Way to freaking go. Way to freaking go. BeLive.tv, for those of you that don't know, is another live streaming application that you can use. Works on, it's a browser based solution. But congrats to you, freaking A, man. Well done. Well freaking done. Glad you're having some success, man. That's awesome. That's really great news. Thank you, Diana. Have a great day. You as well. Saying cool. Where did you learn to edit videos? In Philly Time Films. This is the last question. Where did I learn to edit videos? YouTube. YouTube. I paid for 0 courses on editing. I paid for 0 coaches on editing. YouTube University. And what I did was, when I get a new camera, still to this day, every day for the next 30 days, I use that camera every single day. The difference is, when I was learning to edit videos, when you're trying to batch record and all that different stuff, you are not efficient in doing this yet. So it makes no sense to try to do something like that. It's completely illogical, in my opinion. Because of that, make yourself edit every single day. You don't know the system. You're not familiar with the layout. If you wanted to know, how do I export a video, you'd have to go research where that button is, or where do I go through the whatevers. By editing and creating what I call throwaway videos, I even teach my clients this. You create a video, something that may be like a 60 to 90 second something, that maybe you're not going to post anywhere, but you're getting the practice of having to edit something. Then after a few throwaway videos, actually make some short videos, like again, 60 to 90 seconds. It could be an Instagram post, put a couple title screens, but just something so you can get used to putting title screens in something, and export. So you're getting efficient with what the process looks like, versus just watching something, and then you click on some stuff, but you're never fully executing on it. So it doesn't teach you anything. One thing around here is we subscribe to the learn and do philosophy. The learn and do is my philosophy that says, when you learn something, go do it. Go and actually execute on what you've just learned. So if you are watching YouTube tutorials or something like that, and it's teaching you how to use a specific editing software tool, make a video that you actually need to edit, not something long, 60 to 90 seconds. It could be a vertical video at this point, right? Something that you need. I'm going to add a title screen. I'm going to add in a little bit of music, and maybe I'm going to add in one B-roll clip. Those are maybe your 3 goals. Do that every day for 30 days. You will become a more efficient video editor, and that's what I did. I made myself edit every single day. so that I was more proficient and more familiar with the editing software and tool. And I'm constantly getting the learning process, because repetition is the mother of all learning. I'm constantly and recurringly going to this software tool, and I'm just putting it to work. And I'm getting familiar with what that execution process looks like. But that's the thing. That's the theology here. Learn and do. When you learn something about it, learn how to do keyframes, go do it. Go do a keyframe. Make a video and add a keyframe in. I don't care if it could be a jet. I did that before in one of the videos, still on the channel. And I was like, I'm going to practice keyframes. When a plane came in, I was like, I'm not going to stop and pause. And I just did like a keyframe of a jet coming in the frame and leaving. Practice keyframes. Something a little funny, a little quirky, threw it in the video. Why? Learn and do. Learn and do. That's what I would recommend. So, all right, y'all. I'm out. Saying this is wonderful as always. Appreciate you so much, Blind Guy, his wife, their life. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Thanks you all for being here. Appreciate you. And I'm leaving this time. So with that, guys, with passion, I'll see you on the next Friday live Helpcast, in addition to the next videos on the channel. Peace.